If you don't know me, I'm Tim Lentz. Yeah, everybody should laugh at that anyways. Yeah, okay. That's good. Thank you. All right. This is a big group of panelists here, and they're all going to be candidates for specific jobs in the county, and they're important jobs. So you're going to have a chance to ask them any questions. We're going to start out and do this in order. For an example, the three ladies that are running for Register of Deeds, okay? We'll do them three, and then we'll do the next set, which is Jim. And hopefully his other person comes in, and then Joe and Tony? Sorry, Andy. Thank you. And that's how we'll proceed with this. We'll start out with letting them introduce themselves, and we'll have the Tea Party has a couple questions we want to ask them, and then we'll turn it over and have the audience ask questions. So think of the questions you want to ask them, and we'll go from there. All right, so that's how we're going to start. Again, thank you all for coming. I know it's hot out there, but it's a little cooler in here, and we thank you all for being here, all of you. Thank you very much. And we start out the way we always start these meetings, and that's with a prayer. And I'd like to have Carol Brown, she's my right-hand person here, come up here and give us the prayer.
Thank you, Tim. Would you please stand with me? I'm going to start with a quote, and I always go to the Founding Fathers presidents, but I'm giving a quote from President Donald J. Trump today. As long as we have faith in each other and trust in God, then there is no goal at all beyond our reach. There is no dream too large, no task too great. And opening prayer, Father, our hope and faith are in you. The Bible says in Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked man rules, the people groan and sigh. Verse 12 says, if a ruler listens to falsehood, all his officials will become wicked. I believe that these verses are being lived out in our government today and for the last 3.5 years. We need your divine help to reverse the direction of this current president and administration who are stamping out our freedoms the Constitution gives us and the inalienable rights you have given us that the government was created by the states to protect. All of us are sinners, but we are saved by grace through our faith in your Son, Jesus Christ. We ask for you to heal our land according to 2 Chronicles 7:14 and 15. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves, pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Now, and the next verse is hardly ever recited, but it's important to me. Now my eyes will be open and my ears attentive to the prayers offered in this place. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Carol. That was real good. Before you sit down, we're going to go to the Pledge of Allegiance, please, okay? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. You can sit down now. Just so you know, so everybody, you guys, as been mentioned, have 2 minutes to talk about yourself. Carl is going to be a timekeeper for us there. You all know Carl, you know he knows how to tell time, so that's why we picked him. Anyhow, we're going to start out, like I was telling you, first with the Register of Deeds people, and we'll go in order. There will be a couple questions that we, the Tea Party, will be asking, and we'll go in succession with that. So what I want you to do is we're going to start with Megan, okay? Megan's going to got 2 minutes to tell you about herself, okay? And then we're going to have you answer the question, first question, okay? Everybody understands, so that's going to go. And then it's going to go with Jim, and then with Joe and
Okay, thank you so much. I would like to say good evening. I'd like to thank the Tea Party for the invitation to speak here tonight. I am Megan Lang. I am the Chief Deputy Register of Deeds here for Lapeer County. If I can take a few seconds to tell you about my background. I grew up in a small agricultural farm north of here on my parents' farm. My brother and I were very active in 4-H and Future Farmers of America. In college, I joined Daughters of the American Revolution, which I am still a member of today. Moving to Lapeer 12 years ago was a big change for me, coming from a one-stoplight town to a city with 2-3 grocery stores and a movie theater. I was quite excited. A few years after I moved, I had the opportunity of being hired into the Register of Deeds office, and I am the only candidate with 5 years of current experience at the Register of Deeds. During this time, I've assisted in managing our office, hiring our current staff, and overseeing their training. I have also assisted with implementing 2 systems to better preserve our records. My goal as a Register of Deeds is to, 1, expand the online resources to assist with easier searching, to educate on how to best utilize our resources we have available at the Register of Deeds. I plan to implement a fraud alert system to reassure residents their information is secure. And lastly, make every visit of the at the Register of Deeds as seamless as possible. Based on my first-hand experience as Chief Deputy Register of Deeds, I would be honored to continue serving the community with your support in electing me to this position as Register of Deeds. Thank you again so much for the opportunity, and if you have any other interest in learning about me, I have a website, electmeganlang.com.
Thank you, Megan. She also kind of answered the first question that we have, and so...
No, they're all going to introduce themselves. Then we're going to ask the question. They're all going to introduce themselves.
Sit down, lady. Next, we'll hear from... introduce yourself.
Yes. Thank you. My name is Amy Stearns, and I, as well as same as Megan, echo I appreciate the Tea Party inviting us here tonight to speak. And I was recently appointed as the Lapeer County Register of Deeds. When the former Register, Lori Gephardt, made the decision to retire, she encouraged me to apply to fill out her term as well as run for the position because she trusted the office in my hands. I was honored by this request and applied to fill out her term. I was chosen unanimously by Prosecutor John Miller, Clerk Teresa Spencer, and Judge Justice Scott. I am grateful a committee of individuals that I hold in high regard recognized me as the best candidate for the job. I will serve in this capacity until December 31st, but I need your vote on August 6th to continue to serve the citizens of Lapeer County for the next 4 years. I have been serving the citizens of Lapeer County for 19 years in 3 different offices. I started my county government career at the Register of Deeds, then worked for Dana Miller in the Treasurer's Office, and most recently as Teresa Spencer's Chief Deputy County Clerk. Working in various offices throughout the county gives me a different perspective than my opponents. I have worked hand in hand with most offices and have learned how to facilitate great working relationships with all of them. My experiences have taught me the professionalism required to be an elected official. Along with my 2 decades of experience, well, almost 2 decades, I'm sorry, I also have a bachelor's degree from the University of Michigan, Flint. If elected, I pledge to uphold the laws and protect public record of land transactions in Lapeer County. My campaign is endorsed by the former Register, Lori Gephardt, who worked in the office for 43 years, as well as Sheriff Scott McKenna. My extensive experience in Lapeer County government, along with my education, makes me the right candidate for the job. I ask for your vote for Register of Deeds on August 6th. Thank you.
Karen Toland. Okay, my experience comes from the other side of the counter. from these ladies. Thank you for inviting me to speak. I will tell you, I don't sugarcoat anything, I don't boast, I don't brag. I am endorsed by my God, who strengthens me in everything I do, my husband of 45 years, who supports me in all my crazy, and there's a lot of my crazy, let me tell you. Just ask him, he'll tell you. But boy, do I love that man, my family, and my friends. My experience is in title and mortgage, and I have been doing that for 30 years. What I do is document preparation, document searching, everything that I do in the title industry ends up at the Register of Deeds to be recorded and be preserved. I have owned my own business for 23 years of that 30, and it includes a multitude of hiring people, firing people, going to 5 different counties, which I do right now. I still do 5 counties. These are all things that I do before they even make it to the Register of Deeds. Everything is prepared, so I am well versed in reviewing documents, preparing documents. Excuse me. What I am not experienced in is what happens on the other side of the counter. What are the procedures to put those documents in at the Register of Deeds? Experience, I have the experience. I just don't have the experience on the other side of the counter. Prior to that 30 years, I worked 14 years in the corporate world for Borg-Warner Automotive. And if I go any further back, I'm going to need a nap because these young ladies weren't even born when I graduated high school. So they're both wonderful ladies. I'm honored to run side by side with them. In closing, I'd like to say that I love our little community. And if I were to win, Megan, I would be honored to work side by side with you and Shelley and Julie to make our Register of Deeds the best there is. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. Okay, now we're going to start out, and each one of you 3 I'm going to ask you a question, and you answer that question, and we'll do all 3 of you, okay? That's what we'll start with. And we're going to start with you, Amy, okay? All right, and the question that we're going to ask all 3 of you, starting with Amy, is the first one, is a simple one. Why did you decide to run for this office? Okay.
I decided to run for Register of Deeds. Before I worked at the Register of Deeds, I worked in a title plant like Karen. I didn't do title closings like she did. Do you do closings? I didn't do closings. I worked in a posting plant, and that's where I learned about land transactions and the importance of preserving documents and having them be filed properly so people can find them. I then got the job at the Register of Deeds, and my goal has always been to come back and be the Register of Deeds. I worked under Melissa, and she taught me a lot about that. And as an adult, all I've ever did is worked in public service, so I enjoy working with the public and helping the citizens of Lapeer County.
I applied. Lori Gebhardt approached me one day, told me she was retiring, and thought it would be a good idea for me to apply, so I did. But I thought it would well round out what I have been doing for 30 years, just on the other side of the counter.
I worked in the Register of Deeds office for another company in the public area for almost a little over a year, doing data entry for a real estate business out of Boston. And Lori Gebhardt approached me when they had an opening in the office, and I decided to apply for the clerk's position. As I started working in the office, I learned more and more about the recording process and all the back workings of the office. And the one thing that I like the most is having somebody come into the office that's utterly frustrated with not being able to remember what they need to, what they're looking for, if they lost documents, and being able to set their ease at mind and educate them on what our office does. It's always been a very fulfilling aspect of the job, and there is a point at which we can't help, but we always like to inform people of what we can do and how far we can help.
goals?
One of my first goals would be to better serve the general public that comes in. I understand what Megan is saying, that they're limited as to what they can do. Megan can attest that there are multiple times I have gone out into the hallway and done things for people that the Register of Deeds was legally hand-tied to do, so they could come back in and record their deed, a simple transfer that they wanted to do. And I always have my notary with me. I always have warranty deeds and quitclaim deeds, and I'm able to, go in and look up to make sure that they have the right to transfer that property or put a son and daughter or whatever on it. And that would be one of my first things I would like to see, a better working relationship with the people, the general public coming in off the street.
If elected, one of my first goals is to implement a fraud alert system into our system that we use is called Decado. It would be access available to the community to sign up for on their own accord, and if there is any document recorded in the name that you provide the system, an email would get sent to you to alert you that something has been recorded in your name. On a weekly basis, we get community members coming into our office asking, how can we protect our information? Our office is a public document office. Anybody can come in and look up any type of document, and it has to stay that way. So implementing that type of alert system would be one of my first steps, and then go from there.
One of the first things I would do is start accepting credit or debit cards. I know most people that come into the office don't always have cash or check on them, especially myself. And I was surprised when I came back over there that they still did not accept credit and debit cards. So that would be one of my first things. It makes it easier. A lot of times we have to send people away to go to the ATM to get money. I would echo as well as what Megan says, that I would like to look into some sort of system, because since I've been there for the last couple of weeks, I have received numerous calls from citizens concerned that someone is stealing their home. I'm assuming there's a lot of commercials out there about that. So some sort of system that we could put your name into, and if something does get recorded, you would then get alerted. Those would be my two main goals. I think our customer service right now is pretty great. I think that we do everything we can and we go above and beyond to help people, but there is a legal aspect that we can't cross. And so we help people to the best of our ability. So I think that our customer service right now is great, and I don't think that that needs to change.
Okay. Those were all good answers. Take some questions from the audience. Okay. And any questions you have, these questions will be directed to the road. The registration. And so tell them your name, ask who you want to talk to.
Peggy Brodsky, Lapeer Township. Both of the ladies that mentioned the fraud alert system, I wonder, have you checked into the cost of that, or is there already something in place that would be easy to set that up?
Do you want me to take it first? I will be honest, I have not checked into the cost of that. I was appointed June 1st, so right now I am really just getting my feet wet, and it's kind of like riding a bike for me though. I'm back right in the game, I'm at the counter, I'm answering the phone, so I have not had a chance to look into that. Megan may have, I'm not sure. But I do know that other counties have that ability, so I know it is something that is feasible, but like you said with the cost, yeah, Oakland County has it. Lapeer County can't always compete with what Oakland County has.
As I mentioned previously, our software system's name is Decado. We have an ability to activate a fraud alert system within that system. To my knowledge, because we already pay for the system to use it, there would not be additional charge. It is limited. It won't. It requires to have an email address to
have the alert informed to you. So it would be a good start. If there's more interest down the line that we would need to maybe up that function, we could definitely look into something additional.
Not you?
I have no.
Okay. That's all you- that's fine. All right. Good answer. All right. Next question from the audience. Yes.
Bernie Hellman from Emily Township. To Amy, there's no way I'm going to say this that isn't going to be rude, and I don't mean it to be. But when I'm in there about twice a month, and when I read the article, I didn't know any of you by name. I read the article in the paper how you have been suggested or approved by those important people in government. And it just struck me as, what about the people? That's grueling work. What about the people that have been there grueling along and then you come in again? I'm not saying you wouldn't do the best job.
That's okay.
It just struck me when I
All three
read
of us interviewed for the position. We all three applied and we all three interviewed. I have worked at the Register of Deeds. I worked there from 2005 to 2009. In 2009, I chose to move to the Treasurer's office because there was a recession. At that time, my husband had got laid off from his job, and the Treasurer's office was $1.50 more an hour. So honestly, that's why I left the Register of Deeds. So I went from Register of Deeds to Treasurer's office, still involving land. Land has always been my thing. As I said, I worked there before. And then after that, there was an opportunity to become the Chief Deputy County Clerk, which I do not regret in any way at all. I learned so much from Teresa, if you know her, in working with all the local clerks and conducting a very busy office, supervising 9 staffers, and working hand in hand with the courts. I applied. As you said, very important people saw my qualifications and thought I would be the best suited to run that office.
Okay, any other questions for the Register of Deeds candidates? Anybody? Okay, let's give them a hand. Thank you very much. Nice job, ladies. Okay, now we're going to go through the same procedure with the Road Commission people. And first of all, the other one isn't here right now, the other person, but Jim is here. And tell them about yourself, Jim, and why you want to do this job.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Jim Novak. I've been on the Road Commission for 8 years. I was chairman for 6. I started out my career in construction right out of high school, and I've done every job from the bottom up, and I built a good-sized construction company. Since I've been on the Road Commission as a commissioner, we have bought a lot of newer equipment to get the jobs done faster, and also we've tried to do about 21 miles of heavy maintenance repaving of roads, being a contractor and a business owner, I think I bring a lot of experience and a lot of valuable assets to the Road Commission and to the county. I'm not really great at speaking, but that's not one of my strengths, but I think I'm okay at business and running people.
That's good. We're going to ask you a couple of questions, Jim, to answer the best you can. First one that Tea Parties would like to ask you is, describe how your previous work experience has prepared you for this office.
Well, like I said, being from the ground up, I've done every bad job to good job, been a business owner, been an operator, and I've had up to, I don't know, 30, 40 people work for me at a time, and so on my own payroll, on my own pocket, and we try to spend the county's money the same way I would in my own.
One more question, Jim. What are the main points you would want voters to remember about you?
I'm honest, hardworking, and sometimes maybe a little too blunt to tell people the way it is, but, you know, I don't sugarcoat things. I tell it the way, you know, I'm honest about it. So I get that honestly, too.
Good answers. Okay, now go to the audience. What would you like to ask Jim Novak about the road commission? Anybody got any questions for Jim?
I don't have a, is it on? Okay. I don't have a question.
Name and,
I just want everyone to know that the other person running for this position, Justin Benzetti, I think is how you pronounce it. I did talk to him. He did agree to come. I sent him 2 notices. The last one was a reminder Sunday night. So I apologize for his lack of appearance, but he was well aware of it, and I'm not sure why he's not here tonight. So.
what's your question for Jim?
First off, thanks for being here tonight. I have a question. This is just kind of being on the road commission. Maybe you can help me. I'm not blaming Lapeer County, but it's just kind of the height of government. We spent I don't know how many millions of dollars in federal money was spent resurfacing I-69. You had 2 years, 2 sections of roads. I just don't understand how in Attica, where I live, the section around Lake Pleasant, you got almost a mile of road that was totally missed. There's still potholes in it. How does this work? I mean, can you, I mean, you're on the road commission. I don't understand how something like that works. I understand it's federally controlled, but is there any, it is roads within Lapeer County. Is something like that, is that something that the county can address or would address, or does that only have to come, being this an interstate, does that have to come from the feds? I look at this is just amongst many of the things that I shake my head at sometimes.
That is a good question. That last section of 69 is supposed to be scheduled for either 2025 or 2026. The state keeps on changing that date. And that's also how come Newark Road has not been done, because we're trying to get some funding from the state because of the bypass has really deteriorated that road, and we're trying to get some funds to help rebuild Newark Road. And the section on Lake Pleasant Road north of 69 is either this fall or next spring is on to get that section on Lake Pleasant Road. 69 is a state, federal highway, but it's the state dictates it. Why they left that mile, you can ask the state.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And again, thank you for showing up. It's really important, not just the meeting here, but this goes out to a lot of people afterwards, and it'll be on social media, so people can see exactly who's here and who bothered to participate, and I think that's important. So thank you for being here.
I'm Tom Meldrum. Thanks for being here. Don't really have a question regarding the road commission, but I would like to know from 69, how come we do concrete and the next county over does blacktop?
There again, that's another state issue, and it went to design build, and so the quote came in cheaper for the other county with asphalt, and this section came in cheaper with concrete. So I hope that answered your question, but
In your opinion, what do you think is better?
They both have their drawbacks, but I'd rather have the concrete.
Yeah, but the concrete has seams, and those seams, you know, water gets in, and then they break, and then you go back and cut them out and create 2 more seams, and it seems to be a never-ending maintenance problem for that.
Asphalt has, you know,
Some problems too.
there's pros and cons, but like I said, overall, I think the concrete holds up longer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Jack Dempsey, and I was in charge of the roads in Burnside Township. My son's a supervisor there. And there we have 72 miles of roads, and in 1 year we had like 67 or 70,000 to spend in there, and we had 2 roads that had to be done, and we checked it out. So what we did is tiled the roads. I went to Huron County and Sanilac County, and they tiled the roads. And a road that you put 2 runs of tile under the blacktop, it runs double the life. And if you put it in the center of the road, you stay on that road for, we've had that road, Dean Road, for 17 years. So we have the best roads in the county right now. We buy the gravel, we lease your pit and buy the gravel. We have the guy come in. And we have the best roads in Burnside. I forget how many tons of gravel we got laid up. So how do you feel about tiling the roads?
Well, tiles is definitely a positive thing. I've done a lot of private projects that we've tiled underneath pavement, and it's lasted a long time, and it has helped. There again, it's the cost of doing it that, you know, becomes a problem.
You don't have to ditch the road. Just one run down the center.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You don't have to ditch the road either. Just run one run down the center.
Like I said, I agree with tile. It's just the funding to get it done. And
Who else got questions? The lady in the rear.
My name is Christina Russell. Okay, so how is the road commission running? Is it running smooth, or would you think that there could be some changes made?
well, we went through major transitions, and one transition was Rick Pearson was there for 30-something years, started from the bottom up and became manager, and about 3 years ago he retired. And then we hired John Daly, and he was there for a short time, and then he got sick, and there was turmoil. And approximately 6 months ago, we hired Mike Hemingston as the manager, and he's a retired MDOT engineer, and he ran the Davison TSC, and he's made several changes to make things better.
Anybody else got any questions for Jim? Okay, one more time. Coming around. Carol.
Well, it's a comment about the tile. If it lasts twice as long, seems to me it would be worth the money. That's just a comment. Also, does a road get so bad that it really isn't fixable, or how does it get to that condition?
Well, for the most part, we've been trying to spend our money on the roads that can be capped or resurfaced. And yes, the road gets where it has to be totally rebuilt. And the tile, you know, most of that comes from the engineers and their opinions where it needs to go. And that's their jobs. That's why they have that degree, to say where it needs to be tiled.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Novak? Okay, I have one before we continue. Those are all good questions, folks. Thank you very much. Jim, the last question I have is what do you think the most pressing challenge of that office is?
Funding.
Oh, okay.
Simple one answer, or one word, funding. I mean, most of all the money that was promised has went to the big cities and big counties, and the rural counties have not gotten the fair share of this fix the roads.
Who makes that decision, Jim?
That comes from the state legislators.
Okay. Okay, good answers. Let's give them a hand. Okay, thank you, Jim. We're going to continue on now, and we're going to go to the Drain Commission. Now, I've found out over the years here that there's a whole lot of responsibility with the Drain Commission. You have no idea how important this job is, okay? Because if they don't get it, if it's not right, we have trouble with everything, roads, railroads, all that stuff. So it's an important job, I think, and one that these people are going to tell us why we should hire one of them to get it. So saying that, we'll go with the Road Commission. And Joe, I'd like to start with you, and you tell them a little bit about yourself and that kind of stuff. Go ahead, use that mic right there, buddy.
Okay, I'm Joe Suma, and I am your Drain Commissioner right now. This is my 12th year in the office. I come in first day when I started with a petition in Dryden for a total redo of a drain. From that, I've continued to work at total redos, miscellaneous repair, lots of maintenance. In fact, right now we have 10 companies working in Lapeer County on projects, from brush spraying to tree removal to actually redoing the ditching to improve drainage. My wish is to get another 4 years to try and continue projects. We've got some big ones that are in the works and a couple that are coming in. I'd like to be part of that to move it forward and get them done, or at least moving to the point where they're there to get done. Yeah, I'm creeping up on the years, but to go home, there's nothing to do at home. I'd like to continue to work at the drain office and serve you, the community. I was road commissioner for 8 years and went to the drain office to try and work with the road commission on the drain crossings of the roads. We did one project and then management didn't want to work with me. I'm disappointed on that aspect, but we do have a new manager and it might be a new opportunity to work together and look at those issues, because the tree issue in the whole county has been bad, both the roads and the drains. And by clearing the drain crossings at the roads, you take away at least one area of less danger for the public. As far as doing what I've done, I presently have about $200,000 from MDOT for 4 different drains that was on top of any money spent by the drain. We have $25,000 coming in from the Fish and Wildlife for the new maintenance. For the new maintenance that was planned on that, laid in the drain itself was laying in the drawer for since 1906. Our board dug it out, got it accomplished. We're working on it now. So thank you for your time.
Andy, go ahead and tell them about yourself, sir.
My name's Andy Wagner, and I've known Joe since he's been in office. I've actually been a subcontractor for the drain office for 18, almost 20 years. I'm aware of a lot of the projects that are going on. I don't want to stop any. I want to keep them going. I've been a business owner myself for 25 years. I've been in the Attica Fire Department for 21 years. I've been a subcontractor, like I said, of the drain office. I've had family in Lapeer County since the 1800s. Me and my wife, we live on a drain. Our children go to Lapeer Community Schools. I want to be a part of the community, give back to the community. Like I said, I want to keep the projects going. help the community. I'm aware of grants out there and stuff like that. Being on the fire department, we go for, that to help where the money's needed, because like Jim said, there's funding, and Joe knows there's funding issues with every department. And I'd like to work on that and keep that going. I have a lot of knowledge of past, present, and future projects going on, and I've actually had a discussion with Joe about running, and he said I have to run if I want the job, so here I am. And like Joe said, he came in the office the first day with a pile of keys and a bill. I don't want it to be like that. I actually know what most of the keys are for, so I have that knowledge too. But I'm here, and I'd like to get the job and get started and all that stuff. Thank you.
Okay, let's give him a hand. Thank you. Let me ask you a couple questions, and then we'll let the audience ask you some questions, okay? First of all, and be you, Andy, first, I think. What do you think is the most pressing challenge of that office?
Just like Jim said, it's funding. There's a lot of projects. I mean, Joe knows there is a few areas that have flooding issues and stuff like that, which Joe has been working on as a subcontractor. I know the areas, and I've been working on them too, and I'd like to see a lot of the areas fixed, which of course there's funding issues and stuff like that, because you can only do $5,000 a mile without any extra permission. 5,000 just doesn't get you very much anymore.
Okay. Joe.
Yes, the money is an issue. Lansing's been working at trying to double the amount from 5,000 to 10,000 for the last 5 or 6 years. It's still sitting on the table, not getting accomplished. If that got accomplished, we'd have a little more funding ability. I think for the drain office and for the county is to get us into the generation of the computer. We're in the works to try and do that, but it's only in the beginning steps. For like a GIS system, you can go on, you can see your property, where a drain was, where the right-of-way is, have that whole package available to the people. The work we're doing in the drains, we're going to keep plugging away at that for what we can spend without overburdening the community on the bill. And that's what I've been doing for the 12th year now.
Okay, thank you. My second question, and Joe, you answer this first, is what sets you apart from the other candidate?
I'm there, I'm doing the work, and want to stay there to do the work. My life is the drains. I go to fundraisers and drain work. I'd like to stay there at least another 4 years.
Okay. Andy?
I've been doing drain work for a long time. I mean, since I was a kid, playing in my dad's driveway with puddles, making the water flow down the driveway. It's always been a thing. I'd like to do the job. I've been talking to Joe for a while about it, about taking it over, and that's my biggest fear, is somebody coming in, taking over, and not doing the work, and letting the drains grow back to where they were, the stuff not getting done. Everybody deserves good drains.
Okay, good answers, both of you. Thank you. Now we'll go to the audience again, and we'll ask any questions for Joe and Andy.
Anybody? I love a microphone.
To the younger Andy?
Yes.
Yes. I was going to ask Joe this, but it sounds too much like a compliment. Our land backed up to a county drain, and years ago, someone was digging illegally, digging the ditch. We called Joe Suma. He was there that day. I was amazed. It's been several years, but sounds like he's still hungry for the job. I've called, and I always get through. And can you assure me that it's going to be that way with you?
Yes, I always have a phone on me. I mean, doing the county job, they issue you a county phone too. typically, I mean, the last Tea Party where there was this against Kemp or whatever, Joe mentioned that he's working with a local contractor, and he can call them, get them done, within a few days the job is done. That is myself. So,
Yes, he's been doing the miscellaneous.
Joe calls, I'm there. We make it happen. We were actually just having a conversation about cleaning up some stuff.
Still working.
Yeah. He doesn't hate me.
Just don't like the fact that he's running against.
Okay, who else got a question?
And thank you guys for being here. And this is to each of you guys. What do you feel are the highest priorities currently? And as somebody, I've had family, I do a lot of work. I run a cleaning service, and I have to clean up when basements get flooded. People really don't think about how important the drains are until it's coming back up in their basement. I mean, that's a really, or flooding part of their property. So can I ask both of you guys, in your opinion, what are some of the most critical things? What maybe your top couple things projects that you would go for as you come in, as you start your new, you start your career in there? And Joe, I know you've been there, but what are some of the things going on that we should look for when you start?
There's a lot of things that need to be done. I mean, Joe's done a lot of projects, and a lot of people are upset about money being spent, but it costs money to do the projects. I totally understand as a business owner. Joe's not going to like this, but I would like to get the excavator that the drain office owns running and use it, not just let it sit. There's a lot that could be done. It's a very expensive tool to just have sitting, which he did get it running. It does run, but if we could use it every day, we could probably save a lot of taxpayers' money on maintenance.
In-house crew was very costly for what got done. I had an in-house crew when I started. I have no in-house crew. I use contractors and engineering to evaluate what's needed, bid it out. There's some jobs that we get a quote from a single contractor because it's legal to do that, and pick on the ones that do our work the best. So occasionally one contractor could throw a price to us and do it. Otherwise we're bidding to 3 to 5 to 10 companies for a bigger project. Usually the smaller stuff, and like Andy does, is go get it done. Two big items I have on the table is the Dryden drain, tile throughout the village of Dryden, and about 1.5 miles of open ditch. We're presently in the works with that petition to do this job. The village applied, and I put the drain's name on it because the village couldn't collect it. But we have an opportunity right now for possibly up to $4 million on that drain from the feds. We won't have an answer till probably September, October, and we won't be able to get the money till next year when the federal government puts it there. That's a major project I want to get worked through and doing. We also have the North Branch of Mill Creek got hit very hard on the flooding last year. I'm working with them, trying to look at the options out there. We've got 2 engineering firms working with us, and we've had meetings with the community. July 2nd, we'll have a meeting at Goodland Township Hall, trying to package that and move it along. 2 major projects. Thank you.
Anybody else got any questions?
In Burnside, we had 11 1/4 inches of rain in 3.5 hours, and it washed all our roads out. but we had to have some ditching done on Willis Road. The county put the bid in at like $32,000. We went to Marlette Excavating and got the road taken care of for $16,000. So that was the difference between the county doing it and the private contractors doing it. So is there any, can you answer that question?
Can I? Yeah, as a subcontractor, if I, as a business owner, got contractors to do all my work, I wouldn't make any money. As a drain office, if you run it like a business and you have employees, it's different. I mean, I understand what Joe's saying. If you hire somebody, it's in a contract, they will do the work, but for the miscellaneous stuff, as, you know, if I'm elected, I lose myself. I can't do the work anymore, and that's the biggest downfall I'm going to have is I can't hire myself. And it's hard, it is hard to find good people, but there is contractors that I've went and they didn't want to finish the job, and Joel hired me to go finish it. Problem areas and stuff like that, and you know, there is problems hiring contractors too. But I mean, I understand you hire them to do the job, they get the job done, they're in, they're out, you're not paying for equipment, you're not paying for this, but the equipment's already paid for, it's sitting. That's what I'd like to use. And if I can clear a mile a day, I can get a lot of miles done in a year. And we don't have winters like we used to. We don't have the snow. There's a lot of better working conditions in Michigan throughout the winter, so you can keep somebody busy all winter long.
But you got to find an employee that will do that. And it is very rough out there for any entity to get a quality employee to put that effort forward. We have quality contractors in reasonable prices, and they don't get paid until their projects are getting accomplished. That is where I work at.
Okay, good answers. Good answers. Anybody else got any questions for the Drain Commission per se? All right, with that then, I'm going to open it up to all of the registered deeds people, and to Jim as the Road Commission, and to Joe again. Rethinking, all of these areas are very crucial. As you know, you're going to leave here and in about an hour or so you're going to think, man, why didn't I ask that question? Because there's always something that affects these three areas. So going through it one more time, you can ask anybody on the board here any question you want as far as about that specific job or organization. So you got any question at all for any three of the... Joe, you can't answer right now.
I'd like to do a statement.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
The present road commissioner has 6 years' experience of doing the job he's going to do. So if he gets reelected, he's already had experience in it.
Is that a vote for Jim?
Yeah.
Good, Joe. Good. Did you pay him anything, Jim? You just...
Excuse me, it was 8 years.
Okay, anybody got any questions to ask any of these terrific folks we got? Anybody? I'll give you one last shot. All right, coming up, we got 2 questions. Right behind you first.
I'm going to go after the Register of Deeds. You 3 ladies have a very important job to do. And dealing with the public. Myself, being retired, can you hear me? Okay. Barely? I worry about my children and my grandchildren and people coming into your office. If you recognize something going on, I'm going to be talking a little bit about child trafficking in a little bit. What would you do if you think there's trafficking going on or there's issues with that family that's in there trying to take care of business? How would you handle it? Start with you. Just work down.
Yeah, thank you. It's an unsettling event to witness. If there's, we have cameras in our office pointed at all public and staff areas. If it is a small office and we are quite alert in the office, so if we feel that there is something not quite right in a situation, personally, I would try to assist the adults as much as possible to keep them in the office while staff is notifying the deputies across the street to perhaps step in, depending.
I would echo exactly what Megan said. We have cameras. There is a screen out in the office as well as in the Register of Deeds office that we can see all throughout the building. The deputies have changed our point of entrance. You can only come in the building one way, so that is supposed to help as well. I would alert a staff to please call lockup or the deputies over at the courthouse, and I would continue to talk to the adult while making the child also feel welcome, so they knew that everything was safe. And hopefully the deputies would respond immediately and we would be able to take care of that situation.
Okay. Babies and dogs. I love babies and dogs. I would probably try a snatch and run. I was a Girl Scout leader for many, many years, and we had a situation after a meeting where a supposed parent was coming to get the child. The parent or the person was inebriated. I was always told that you can't do anything. You have to let them go if it is the parent. Don't necessarily agree that. I would probably try to take the child either to show them something behind the counter. Oh, come and look at this. So then they would be behind that locked counter because there is no access to where the girls are. And the child would be safe behind there while someone was contacting the deputies.
Anybody else? We have one more, didn't we? This is for the Register of Deeds. Some of you mentioned technology and the role that it plays. Could you speak about what technology you'd like to bring in to make the office more effective, to make it a better experience for people, even so that they can just figure out what they need at home and not have to drive in at all?
Currently, right now, you are able to view records at home. So that is a big feature from when I worked there in 2009. You were not able to do that. There were no images available online. You had to come into the office. You can currently view those images online. We do assist customers very well over the phone. When they call, we explain to them, this is how you would find it. We usually, I believe Megan does the same thing, look it up for them, tell them what they're looking for, because most people are very confused. I shouldn't say very confused. It's foreign to them. A lot of people think when they pay their mortgage off, they get a new deed, So there's a lot of things we go through with them over the phone to ease them and then say, you're more than welcome to come into our office, or you can look it up online, because some people aren't comfortable doing it online. They would rather come in face-to-face and have us help them. I personally am happy with our current Decreto system. I believe my opponent is not. I think it's very user-friendly. I think that it's easy on our end as far as workers go. It's user-friendly for us. So I am happy with the current technology we have right now.
Thank you. I would echo what Amy says. The current system is very user-friendly, providing you read the directions on how to search. The system available to the public at home does not allow you to view the actual image of the document until after purchase. Okay? To search it, there is a specific way. It is not like a Google search where you can kind of get it spelled somewhat close. It has to be exact spelling and exact spacing in order to find the person you're looking for. What I would hope to do is basically put on our county website a little bit more clearer information on a step-by-step basis on how to utilize that searching system. It is printed out when you log in and given very clear descriptions, it does appear small on some screens depending on what type of browser you use. But the system overall, I feel, is user-friendly. We have it down pat. We can walk you through over the phone in an instant, or find the document and you can plug in the library page of the document. So overall, it's just education in my view.
It is not my favorite system. Of the 5 counties I do, I think that Lapeer's it's a little more cumbersome. I can do it. I go in there to do it. I don't do anything at home with it because I need to see all the documents, not necessarily pay $1 every time. I need to open up these documents for me to do a search. If I'm being hired to do a search on your property, I need to be able to see the deed. I need to be able to see the mortgages. I need to be able to see any judgments. To open up every one of those and have to pay for them to see them. And sometimes, and I don't mean this to be a slam, the information that is on the little area where they say John Smith deeds it to Jane Doe, the whole amount of information is not on there. So it is a little bit limited. I'm not saying it's not a okay system, it's just not what I think it could be. That's all.
Okay. That answer your question, whoever was asking that? Anybody else got any questions on that? All right. Yeah, one more. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I guess I have 2. I have one for Amy, one for Karen, but I hope they're pretty quick on the answers. And my name is Jacob Leroy. I'm in Field Township. Amy, you mentioned you had a bachelor's degree from the University of Michigan. And I'm sorry if you said it before, but what was that bachelor's degree?
I have a major in English with a minor in psychology. My original life goal was to be a teacher. Again, the economy crashed right after I graduated from college, and I landed at the Register of Deeds office. And I never became a teacher. I decided to stay in county government and make that my career.
And then, Karen, what was your role at Borg Warner?
What was my role at Borg Warner? Oh boy, I had multiple roles at Borg Warner. I started out as a secretary in 1983, moved my way up to a corporate secretary for the president, and then moved my way up to having 12 salespersons that I was responsible for, and then was getting ready to kind of go into management, and I had a very young daughter, and an opportunity to learn how to do title came about, and that's where I've been for 30 years.
Thank you. And then I guess to make it more fair to Megan, do you have any other education or job experience you'd like to share with us?
I attended Delta Community College. I have 2 associate's degrees, one in general studies and the other in applied sciences for physical therapy assistant. So I met my husband, moved down to Lapeer, and PT jobs weren't on a high rate, so ended up working at a retirement village for a few years, and then data entry, which is how I got into getting hired into the Register of Deeds.
Thank you.
Got him? Yep. Thank you. Okay.